That's right, folks. That music means one thing and one thing only. We are back. Footy First returns after a bit of a hiatus there, and we do apologize about that. Some personal stuff did come up for not only myself, but Niko as well, and we were unable to go for the last month. But Niko, it's great to be back, my man. How you doing?
You're making it sound so serious. These people are gonna start thinking, some serious problems. It's the summertime. It's busy. I'm in the middle of my season. Nick's got his own stuff going on. When stuff comes up, we'll pop on. So it's not that bad. You're gonna scare him, Nick. Go
Hey, I
easy.
got to be honest at least. Stuff came up. We were unable to do shows for a month. That's how it works.
You're gonna start questioning me.
Questioning you. Well, I mean, I always question you anyway, so I can just have other people join in and questioning you alongside me. We got a full show today. Obviously, Canadian women's team in the Olympic CPL season in full swing, and boy, is it going to be a fun race to the end here for first place. We also have transfer news across both the men's and women's national programs. But Niko, we are very, very lucky to be joined right off the hop here by the president of the Capital City Supporters Group, Bryce Crossman. Bryce, welcome to the show. We really appreciate you joining us. And
thanks for having me.
Let's get right into it. Atletico Ottawa, one of the most successful clubs since their first season, and they're still having a great year this year, especially with all the transfers. How excited was the supporters group heading into the year?
Well, first, I think as a fan of this team who's followed them for a long time, like since the beginning, and being a long time Ottawa fan of footy, I think we've only had one season that we as fans were pretty happy with, and that was 2022 when we did make it to the finals. Last year we had a big letdown, so I wouldn't say that we've been successful since the hop. But in this offseason, we thought that we retooled this lineup. We thought we brought in the players we needed. We thought that we would have the season that it seemed to be for those first 2 months. And now this doesn't feel like what we were expecting at all.
Well, Nick, what do you got to say about that? I mean, seems like, would you agree with that?
What, that they haven't been successful since the hop, or that they?
Well, I feel like the narrative around Ottawa is always like, everyone on the outside, it seems like they've been one of the top successful clubs, but right there, Bryce, it seems like you're saying like, it hasn't been as good as it may be portrayed.
Well, definitely last season was a big letdown, because last season, we make it to the finals, we do really well. We're kind of muddled in the beginning of the year. We bring in Zapater, all of a sudden we go on a big run. We're looking good, and then we miss out on the playoffs in the last week. So that was looking good. Yeah, we might regain some of that success of the previous year, but it was a big letdown at the end. So we felt that we needed change in the offseason. Some of us would have liked more change in the offseason, maybe not just players, but we went into the season thinking that we had it all right together. And to start the year, they were on fire. And, if that had continued, we'd be feeling really good, but the last 6 weeks haven't been great. The last 4 games have been terrible. Right now, we've been waiting for them to wake up in every game. Like, oh, one bad game is okay. Can you turn that around and play better the next week? But when we go out there, it seems like the same thing over and over. We're seeing players that aren't committing. And right now, we can't even tell who might step up and become the leader we need on the field right now.
Bryce, they might need you to maybe have a word with them if things you don't like what you see.
I will say the Capital City, we put on a lot of content, and some of the best content we have is actually our writers. We've got a writer's shed that puts out content every week. We do player ratings after every game, and they're quite honest in those player ratings, and we're not fanboying when we're writing or editing those things. We're pretty truthful in what we're seeing on the field. So you don't have to dig too deep. We're publicly putting out there how we're feeling about the success and the failures of this team.
Well, just hearing you talk, I mean, it's extreme, but I mean, this is kind of what you want the fans to be like. You want them demanding and have like high expectations. You know, as you speak there, Bryce, you kind of talk about, you're saying we, I mean, to me, Capital City Supporter Group is just people have just been hurling abuse at me since they've come into the
It's
league.
just because you don't stay on your line, buddy. That's it.
Listen, no problem. Listen, I don't mind hearing it all. Man, the refs would love that one, eh?
But you know,
But
like any true supporter group, the minute you put on our jersey, this would all change.
okay, well, Vancouver. Right now, you cut me open, and eagle flies out of me because I'm a true born eagle. So
But
no
yeah,
comment on that.
but you're also backing up a Fury legend, right?
That's why it's so tough. You know, they make him so good in Ottawa. But what I was gonna say is, Bryce, if
Yeah.
you let me get a word in, is you say we Capital City Supporters Group. Who is we? Like, what does the group consist of? You know, obviously you are the president, as we said. Well, first of all, you're in the capital and you go by the president. How do you not go by prime minister of the Capital City Supporters Group? No?
I'm not the founder of this group. And the president was a term that was there. I've been filling this role since before the last season because the founder and president Daniel Duff needed to step down. So all of last season I was an interim president, and then in elections in the fall I then became president for a 2-year term. But also in this off season we actually restructured Capital City a lot. Before this, it was a handful of people that kind of made all of this go. It was funded by a handful of us for whatever we needed to get. In the off season, we decided we were going to put a bigger structure in place with more people involved, more directors of some subcommittees and things like that. And we brought in a paid membership structure. So right now we have approximately 120 paid members in our group, which is about 1/4 of the size of our supporter section. Not all of the members that we have are people that sit with us in the supporter section. We have a lot of people that have joined from elsewhere in the stadium just because they believe and want to support what we do. Um, but we have a social media team that handles that stuff. Like I said, we have a writer's shed that has, I think we have at least 10 writers. You know, we have someone who's doing player ratings. We have someone doing a match day review. We have a reporter with credentials who attends all the press conferences. We do write-ups on those pre and post game. We also have some other one-off articles we write from time to time. So that stuff's going out every week. We've got a podcast, ATO After the Whistle, that drops every week. That's a pretty good one. Yeah.
You do anything else? Yeah, I don't know. This is the longest list. You guys are full thing. Do you guys have an academy system, 8s through 14s, and they graduate to the first team?
I have
guys...
a son who plays competitive U11. We have a couple sevens teams out of our group. We will be competing on Saturday. The ATO is running as part of Capital Pride is running a sevens tournament, and we'll have a team in that.
Capital City will?
Capital City SG will have a team in the ATO Pride sevens tournament.
Oh.
Even cooler. I was kind of bantering about that, and then you just put me in my place and then say, "Yeah, thank you for reminding me, Niko. We actually are doing that as well."
Yeah, I mean, not consistently, but
are you guys the best? Are you guys the biggest? Are you guys clearly the best? What's this I always hear? You guys call Ottawa's massive. Are you saying like your supporters group is the biggest in CPL?
The Ottawa Massive thing was before that 2022 season, and that's something that was tongue in cheek started by us.
Okay.
Because the team was not massive. So we started it as, no, we are massive. We are. And the team rose that year and played and became a big thing. Right.
As in Capital City.
I made the 5-foot tall, massive banner that we had it during the playoffs. Yeah, like that's a thing that we started. So we feel we are massive. Now I'm not going to denigrate any of the other supporter groups out there. You know, when I was at Forge, I was at Forge on the weekend, and plenty of them we met up with and talked with and stuff. And there's no real animosity between us. But you know,
wait, Bryce, wait, why? Is that because you guys all can see you're all in it for the same thing? Like you just love supporting local footy, so you can just understand the commonality that you guys have amongst one another?
I see the supporter culture in the CPL closer to fans in the CFL than I see it as fans of European football. Okay, so like CFL, there are people that every year they'll go to the Grey Cup. That's their trip every year with their friends. They go to the Grey Cup and they hang out with other fans from the other teams, and then you hate each other during the game, but you party for the week, right?
Okay.
I kind of see that same way. I know that we have a bunch of people that are going to Halifax for the August 24th game in Halifax. I know that the night before, those guys will be at a pub with Wanderer supporters. We've already got that planned out. We'll hang out with them post game, but during the game, no, we're not friends during the game. But you come hang out with us after, like
There's a 2-hour gap in the middle there where you don't talk. But
Yeah.
other than that, it's all free reign. Everyone's there to enjoy
Well,
loving the
I
sport.
think like
So it's a Canadian thing.
well,
If
we
they
know
do it in
where
the CFL and they do it in the CPL, it's a Canadian thing.
a little bit, but it's also like look at where you're at. Okay, you're playing soccer in the CPL, right? There are plenty of places better to play than the CPL. So it's
No way. No way, Bryce.
but we can't be like we're the biggest, we're the end all of soccer culture, like we're still trying to build this up. So we're in conversations and dialogues, chats with other supporters, with the other presidents of other supporters groups. We do some things like these jerseys last year. This was a cross Canada thing, where we each got the same jersey, but we have our badge on it, for pride causes and for fundraising. So there's a bunch of things we do across the board in Canada, and we don't want to see any of the teams fail. So we're not happy when we're looking at Winnipeg. We're seeing them not getting support from their owners for what they're doing. When we're seeing their numbers drop, we're a little concerned with Forge with all their success and having their numbers in attendance drop. I don't know if you noticed, but last week when the numbers came out, we averaged 4 people less than Forge right for this year per game. Only 4, which isn't bad considering how we play and how Forge plays. So, but we don't want to see any of these teams pull in Edmonton and end up not having a team for the people there to support. So I would rather help out a supporters group somewhere else, maybe suggest things they can do better. Do you need help? I'd rather do that than constantly berate them. Now, on Twitter, our guys will berate other people. We'll start those things, but it's getting people talking about the CPL. So
It's more tongue in cheek, trying to have fun and trying to get conversation flowing, as opposed to genuine berating. I
Hate.
get what you're saying.
exactly.
In conversation with Bryce Crossman, Capital City Supporters Group president, and Bryce, you talk about trying to grow the game, and is there any initiatives some of the supporters groups are trying to take to help grow the game across the country that you'd like to share, or anything that you guys do specifically with Capital City that you try to do? Because I think it's really important to try to get more people out to watching matches.
Yeah, I think as a supporters group, I don't think we do anything that others aren't doing. We have a pub here, Glebe Central Pub, that we've partnered with for the last 4 years. So we do all our official watch parties there. Every single away game, national team games, Copa America, we were there. We also hosted a bunch of World Cup stuff when those are on. So we have a place where all our members are welcome to hang out. That's been good. Otherwise, I think for the first few years, the team itself didn't market well in Ottawa. I think if you knew and were following them, that's the way you got the info. But I think a lot of the game atmosphere and a lot of the visibility outside of the stadium was up to us and our members and what we were doing. And that included online. I think we put out more things than the club initially. They've done a lot better now that they have some more dedicated people to the local scene. There's a couple people that now deal with local connections and partnerships that was missing before. So they are doing better, and that's less on us. I think one thing that needs to happen in the CPL.
I know. Here we go. Here we go.
Well, scheduling, especially for us, scheduling has not made it so that we can do comfortable road trips and support the team. There's like I said, we've done 2 road trips in the last 3 weeks. We did a game at York, because the only game that was those Hamilton and York are really the only 2 feasible bus trips for us,
Right.
right? Because we're not taking 18 hours to Halifax, which is the
Correct.
next closest. So the York game, Friday afternoon or Friday evening game. So you have to take a day off work. We're going there. You're getting back at 2 a.m. The Forge game, a Saturday evening game.
Yeah.
Because our 2 options for Hamilton this year were last Saturday or Thanksgiving.
Perfect.
I
That
can't
one
get
makes
a
sense.
I can't get a bus of people for Thanksgiving. I was lucky to get like 2/3 of a bus for last Saturday, but it's a night game. So get on the bus at noon, get back to Ottawa at 3 a.m. Again, if that's a 1 p.m. game on a Saturday, we're down, we're back. It's great. But I don't think there's anyone in the CPL office that is thinking Ottawa and Hamilton should play at 1 o'clock on Saturdays at either place. Either of those places puts that bus on the road full of fans. It gives you that full fan experience in the stadium. That gets your rivalries going. That makes this like a real league.
Yeah,
So
I mean, the CPL has little things that they're still trying to iron out.
for sure.
I disagree with your point. I bet you there is somebody that did have that thought when making the schedule, but
It probably got voted
for
down.
again, no, it's not even that serious, but it's like something happened because Hamilton, the Tiger Cats or
Oh,
the Red
oh, for
Blacks have a
sure.
game and stuff like there's just stuff still with the CPL that they're trying to iron out. But yeah, I don't know. I love your passion right now, Bryce. I think we get you talking about the team,
Sure. Let's go.
the season, Ottawa. I mean, for me right now, it seems like you might be more negative than I was thinking because me as a competitor against Ottawa, I'm like, good team, good club, good fans. Um, seems like a positive thing. I believe you guys sit in second right now. Is that
Oh
live
yeah.
table? Is that where you're
Oh
at?
yeah. I am much too unhappy for someone with a team in second. But the thing is that it wasn't too long ago that we were 12 points clear in first, right?
That is true.
So I think we've got 2 points on the last 5, uh, something like that. Like
Most
it
difficult
hasn't.
time of the year to play, the
Oh,
It
summer.
is.
It's the most
Middle of
difficult
the
time.
summer.
oh, I forgot we're the only team playing in the summer.
No, but
No,
if you're gonna go through a downswing, middle summer could be it.
no. I think the issue is that we know we have the players. We know that we have the players that should be able to play and put this together. We know that 2 years ago, our defense was incredible. We had a back line that was impenetrable. And this year, we're giving up easy goals in the box. If you saw Tristan's goals on the weekend, those were gimmies. And I don't understand. I don't understand why late in that game, our best defender is our left winger, because he's the kid who has no quit, and he's the guy that'll bust his ass back past all his teammates to make a play in our own box.
Who's that,
So
Debrienne?
Debrienne, man, yeah.
The local kid. You guys love him, man.
Well, we have been on the club since they let him slip through their fingers. So the years he was in Winnipeg, there wasn't a week that went by when I wasn't bugging the team and saying you need to get that kid back here.
How did it
If
slip
only it's
through their
because I
fingers?
well, because he was with us. He was
He
a
he was
U4
with.
player with us,
Okay, I didn't know that.
and then he was off to Valor. But if only because I don't want to see all of his family show up in Winnipeg jerseys to our home games, which
Yeah,
is
that's fair.
still a problem with Batars and La Jeunesse and some other locals that I would really rather they wear our jerseys. And it's something we've pushed a lot. We know that I'm not sure if I think for at least the first 4 years we had one scout and he was in Spain. So we weren't getting the local looks I think we deserved. Although Kwesi Leone is an assistant coach and is tapped in with the Ravens system, so he should have an ear to the ground there. But there are local players that we would much rather seen if they could sink or swim in our jersey than letting them go and seeing them succeed somewhere else.
Well, you guys brought in a bunch of players in the off season. Everyone across the market was calling it like almost a super team, and you started off the season so well. What have you kind of noticed as the season's gone on that maybe hasn't worked, or that you saw was working earlier in the season that they've kind of gone away from? If
I
there
think,
is anything.
well, it's goals. We haven't been scoring lately. So they started, I don't know, I made that's been a problem. The last 2 years, we've only scored 16 goals in total at home, combined, like total, both last years. So last year, I actually made a sign that says home goals, and we actually changed the counter after every home goal. And this year, we got up, like we got to 22. So we're at 22 now.
Yeah.
But we've been at, no, sorry, we're at 23. I missed one home game while I was away. We're at 23 goals now. I didn't make a second three when I made that. I only made, so we could only go up to 32 before I wouldn't be able to make another number. And I was worried that, I'd have to make those. And now with the way they're scoring, I'm not sure we're going to need them this year. So it's just goal scoring. I mean, we were super happy when Del Campo started scoring, and we're happy that he's up near the lead of the league. Because last year he had a lot of chances, but always seemed to hit a crossbar or a post and didn't score. This year, once he started scoring, it was like he couldn't stop. So we're happy with his play. We really like that. We're happy with Tier Walker is one of our biggest, brightest spots right now. We only have 3 U21 players, and a lot was riding on Gabby Antonoro's shoulders. And he's an incredible player and doing really well. But Tier Walker is an incredible center back, young kid, local kid. And he had one appearance last year and looked pretty good. This year he got a quick look and then sat for a long time. But he's had a couple starts now. He's looking like a solid player. I think the only thing that he needs is more playing time. And with our lack of U21 minutes, I think I want to see him play full 90s for the rest of the season. So he's been great. We love that kid.
How about Didic, Manu? Those guys have been solid for you.
Aparicio has been amazing. That kid is all over the place. And I met his dog Simba. That's a great dog. But
that's how he wins over the fans. Well played, Manu.
I live in the neighborhood where a lot of the players live, so I just have to take a walk and get to meet them and their dogs.
That's nice. Strategic, eh? Strategic by you.
Hey, I lived here first, so that's on them.
They came to your neighborhood. They're following you.
Exactly.
Got it. Gotcha.
But no, Manny's great. It just seems that there's something with the formation and with the other players around, especially playing out of the back. That
what formation does Ottawa play? Nick, do you know? I don't.
We're 4 at the back.
Okay.
Back, and then the combination of multiple different formations between the midfield and the attackers, depending on who's on the
usually it's a single attacker.
Yeah.
And then they drop 2 a little behind that. But it's been so sloppy lately. It's been hard to tell exactly what it is. And I think on those goals you see last week, you don't see 4 in defense. So there's some things that are going wrong. But Manny Manny served a suspension. They came into the game against Hamilton, and that was his game back. And he maybe was a little rusty. He didn't have his best game, but he's a guy who definitely can up it. So I'm hoping he gets back to where we saw him at the beginning of the season.
That's humbly said. Manu can definitely up it.
Oh, we know because we saw it. Like he was like Mighty Mouse to start the year, but lately he's been playing well, but he's not contributing in those scene areas of the field, I think, right now.
Nice. Nick, do you have any other player questions? Because I got a funny way I could kind of take this conversation.
All you need.
Sure, you're gonna ask about disappointments?
No, okay, I wasn't gonna take that. What you're saying that a goal problem is something that you guys have right now. Our next guest that we're having on the show is actually Brian Wright, a guy that's leading the CPL.
If I show a few more rainbows, will he disappear?
I don't know, but talk about slipping through your fingers. You had him locked down in a contract. You sent him. No, are the fans regretting that one?
No one's sad that Brian Wright's not here. And I will say that when Brian Wright was on our field, we didn't see a Brian Wright that was trying that hard. We saw a Brian Wright that watched balls roll out of bounds, didn't run after stuff, was unhappy with the service he was getting, so was quitting in the middle of a play. So great that he's finding it better where he's at now with that team. I think that's more to do with system than individual player play. But no,
Wow.
there's and I'll say the pride jersey stuff last year for a group that has a number of visible gay, queer, trans members. The
Bryce,
fact
Bryce, I'm just gonna stop you there.
Sure.
It's a difficult conversation, and it's not
that,
kind
no,
of where
it's
I
not
wanted to go. And
I understand, but on a personal level with the supporters group, I'm just letting you know that
Yeah.
there's very little love in this supporters group for him because people that did love him and cheer for him as a player in our town felt betrayed by his actions last year.
No
So
problem. Okay,
that's
that we could keep it like short and sweet,
sure.
like that. Final question. We'll make it more lighthearted.
Go for it.
Who are you guys most scared of right now? I mean,
Good one.
I still think Ottawa's a good team. I still think at the end you guys are going to be fighting for a championship. In contention at least, as for many clubs right now. Who are you guys worried
I'd be
about?
disappointed if we weren't.
Who are you worried about? Who are you scared of?
I'm not scared of any of them. I mean, the ones that scare me are the ones that we should beat and don't. But honestly, it's the two teams we face on the road lately and who we went to watch. Because we beat Forge twice. We beat them 3-0. We beat them 4-3 at home. But we didn't even show up to play at Forge last week. So that's a scary thing. Because I don't know if it's because we couldn't or we just didn't. And then York is also scary. I don't know if they're still riding that new coach honeymoon, if that's what the success is. But
The honeymoon phase.
they have the players. And maybe some of these players they'll be able to keep for more than a year. But they've got the guys and they can play. So those are both teams that we obviously have to do a better job of preparing for. We have to do a better coaching job. We got to show.
What VFC? You're not scared of us?
No, you're the Eagles.
A giant killing machine that flies in on Callum's arm every day.
Niko, I haven't seen you play yet this year, but I know you have. I think you have one yellow card.
Yeah, that's passion, buddy. That's passion.
I know.
That's how good our team is. They're like, you know what, Niko, just take it easy. Don't stress.
I need things to get a little bit worse so Batar can come here.
Nick?
I got nothing else, Bryce. This has been fantastic. I really appreciate you joining us, man.
Hey, anytime, man.
Awesome. All right. That it was Bryce Crossman's Capital City Supporters Group joining us on the show. Niko, it's now you and me, and we got lots to get into for the transfer market. Oh, lost you.
Fix my head top.
I got you. Don't worry. Relax. We got this figured out. We got a lot to talk about in the transfer world because, dude, there has been so many transfers from Canadian players, both men's and women's side. Any really jump out at you that you've seen so far this year?
Nick, I'll be honest, as I alluded to at the beginning of the show, my life's been hectic, so I haven't been able to keep up with other people's careers. I've been very much focused on my own. But if you could rip them off to me, to be honest, this is where I'm very curious about your opinions and on that. I mean, you were sending them in. So
yeah, man, it's been a wild offseason because we got like Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy is now with Montreal. We got Moise.
That's
Pompeo.
a big one that we could. The Jaquil Marshall-Ruddy. What's your thoughts on that one? He gets bought by Montreal and TFC get general allocation money. Don't ask me what that is. I'm not too sure, but they get rid of another local homegrown guy. Nick, thoughts?
I don't understand it, man. Like and not only do they get rid of another local guy, it's a getting rid of a local guy and sending him to your biggest rival. Like, what are you doing? I don't understand that from a business perspective at all. It's like you're trying to piss off the fan base constantly. What's the point?
But you got so then I'm trying to think like, okay, logically what they think. Clearly they're making or setting up a move that they think is going to be beneficial. They're not doing this to piss off the fans.
No, I know, but it just seems like it because they're constantly moving players that the fans like and putting them on teams that are supposed to be rivals. Like they've sent a bunch of guys have ended up in Montreal. A bunch of guys have ended up in Columbus, who is supposed to be another one of our rivals in the
Who landed in
Cascadia?
Columbus? Is that Machado?
Machado ended up there. There's a couple other guys in the past too, not necessarily recently, but just in general. It seems like bad business to me. I don't understand it. We also
Definitely
talked,
fans weren't happy about it.
no, God no.
That was that was, I didn't see anything positive really.
No, and it just doesn't make sense because he was playing. It's not like he was like constantly sitting on the bench. He was getting into games, so it's not like he was wasting on the bench. I didn't understand that one. Moise Bombito goes to France with Kone and Derek.
Same club?
Or
no, just same league.
Same league. I'm just going league in general, trying to get as many names out there as I can.
Mhm.
We've also seen
keywords.
Boom, boom, boom. We have also seen a few other players transfer. I'm blanking here. Rose for the women's side is now playing at Manchester United. She was going to join another teammate who then got transferred as well. I can't remember where she ended up. Just so many transfers to keep an eye on. The big one for me was Jade Rose and Bombito. I think Bombito going from Colorado to France, I think it's a great move. I think he fits really well in the French style of soccer, so he's going to have a really good opportunity there to really show out for Lille. And Rose going from USC to Manchester United, I think is massive. This is going to be a big opportunity for her, and she balled out at the Olympics, and we'll get into that after. I think it's a great chance for her to
NCAA.
in. Yeah, NCAA straight
to Man U.
Not bad.
Jeez. Yeah.
But Niko, let's switch gears once again. We'll keep the transfer talk short because on the line joining us now, one of your former teammates, one of the guys that I used to play against growing up and know him well. It is the leading goal scorer and assist man in the CPL this season, York United striker, Brian Wright. Brian, welcome to the show, man. Really appreciate you joining us.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon, Niko, and good evening, Nick. How you guys doing?
Good, man. Good.
Brian, Nick was just telling me off the air how you couldn't get by him. Just like Kyle Laren, he had him in his pocket. He said in his back pocket.
I never really went against Brian, that was you. To be fair. We were never one-on-one.
Yeah, he said the same thing last time when I came on. So.
But man,
okay, sorry, Nick. Go ahead. I cut you off.
All good, man. I was just gonna say, Brian, you guys have had a fantastic season, leading the league now as a team, and you yourself leading the league in goals. How does it feel? How has everything kind of gone for you this year, and how excited have you been for this season?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, season's going well for me, and the team as well. Definitely, last year was a disappointing year for me, only scoring 2 goals to going to 9 right now. So can't really complain as a striker, as well as the team's obviously doing really well. So can't really complain too much.
New ownership group this year, a lot of changes going on within the club. How have the guys kind of been able to adjust with all the constant change going on in the background to be able to play as well as they have on the pitch?
Yeah, I mean that's never ideal, but I feel like everyone's been pretty professional about it from day one. We got the new owners, and then obviously with a few games into the season, the new coach change. So everyone's just been pretty hardworking every day and just doing what the new coach is asking of us.
Niko, go
serious
ahead.
This is a serious side of Brian. I'm not used to seeing this thing. What, Brian, was it me? Just say it. Was it me? Was I the problem?
No, come on. Come on, buddy.
Talk about you. 9 goals, 6. Is it assists or 6 goal contributions? Like, are they all first assists?
No, first assists.
Okay. What's going on? What's happening? What's different?
I think just people are gelling to better together this year. I think goals wise, I'm just being found a little bit better. Half chances are a bit easier for me, if I want to say that, and I'm just being more clinical. And I guess in terms of the assists. I'm just making good decisions, I guess, on the passes I'm making.
I feel like, now correct me if I'm wrong. Last year, you got just as many chances. You're just being more efficient. Like you're putting those ones away. No, I still see like the same kind of Brian. No,
Yeah, I would agree with you. Like, I wouldn't say that the chances weren't there. It would be one thing if I was getting no chances, but I would just say, like I said, like I'm just more clinical this year in terms of actually finishing my chances that are coming to me, whether it's a full chance or a half chance. But like just doing what a striker needs to be doing, just be clinical.
yeah. Uh, Anything that you felt like you changed? I mean, you're a veteran of the league now. I mean, as I get older now, I truly understand now what experience kind of is. And I'm still very, I would say, unexperienced, but as you get older, you learn a couple things and stuff like that. And you're like, even learn stuff about you as an athlete, what works, what doesn't. Is there something, maybe that you have switched up, or is it not that serious, or what are kind of, have you made any small adjustments to make it's actually such a big difference if you go just by the statistics wise, no?
Yeah,
Can
that's
you
true.
can you put it down to someone to
I,
something?
I
Sorry.
I don't even think I can pinpoint it to one thing exactly. I wouldn't really say I made a huge adjustment, more so even in the off season, because ironically, this past off season was one of my shorter off seasons because I didn't fully get to train entirely because like we were talking in an off season, like I got hurt, so I didn't get to train as much as I would have wanted to. But I just think like as I'm getting older, like experience, like you said, and like I said, like I'm just the chances that are coming to me, I'm actually just burying them this year as opposed to last year. So
And for young strikers out there, I mean, that's part of the business, right? You want to be a number nine, you want to be a goal scorer. I mean, me and you have spoken about it. It's very similar as like a goalkeeper, those kind of positions have the pressures of like, perform, but it is very much a confidence like position. So to younger, like, boys or girls strikers that are out there going through like slumps, what would you like say to them now kind of
yeah, if
going
you're
through and just coming out the other side?
yeah, if you're ever like in a slump, like you said, like it's especially strikers, they have to be very confident because you can get maybe one chance a game or two chances a game. Ideally, you want to bury both, but you miss a chance, you can't just be hung up on that one chance. You just got to keep working. And if the goals aren't coming, I would just say just keep your head down and just keep working hard. And all it takes is for one to go in, and then the confidence can go right back up. So it's like don't ride the high wave too long because then when you come down from it, it can be pretty bad at times. So in the moments when you are confident, you're doing well, for sure, be like enjoy those moments, but at the same time, like be humble and keep working because you know how football can be. Sometimes it can be like this, and then next moment you're like that. So and it can humble you quick. So just consistently, just keep working and just keep doing what you're doing.
But I laugh, Nick, because we used to say to each other, like, football can humble you real quick. And
Yeah,
he's kind of saying that. But you say, you go there, like, you know how it is. Sometimes football's up and then it's down. That's the thing. Sometimes these young guys going through it, they don't know that because they haven't been through it. So it's just part of like the path
the
of,
learning curve.
yeah, exactly.
The
Yeah,
hardest thing,
Uh,
it's really hard to keep your head on your shoulders when things aren't going well because you want to try to do too much sometimes. And the one thing I will give you a ton of credit for, Brian, last year, I know it wasn't the easiest year for you, but you kept making all the right runs. You were always in the right spot. That was one thing I told everybody. I'm like, just wait until he gets one or two goals. This guy is gonna pop off. You can see it. Every single run was there. That's what made you this success this year obvious to me. I knew it was gonna come. I'm happy that it's happening for you, man. We're in conversation with York striker Brian Wright here, and we talk about the success you're having, but why don't we also flip it over to the success the team is having? You guys bring in a new coach, and now not only are you guys winning games, but you're now first in the league ahead of Ottawa, Forge, Cavalry, the big guns that a lot of people had predicted to be at the top. How are the boys kind of handling that kind of success right now as a group? And is this something that fans should expect moving forward? Not maybe just this year, but moving forward past this year, depending on how many of you guys are able to stay.
yeah. I mean, obviously, it's nice when you're winning games, and it's things are a lot easier when things are going your way. But then, obviously, like we said, like football can humble you quick too. So the main message right now is after the win, enjoy it. But then as soon as we're back to work that following week, what just happened is no longer relevant anymore. We have our next match, and our next match is our only next important match. So very consistent throughout the week in terms of working hard and keeping our heads down and trying to stay humble because we haven't done anything yet. We haven't won anything. Just winning games, trying to get to our end point. But ultimately, we still have 10 games left to go and 10 games that we need to be consistent over if we want to reach our first goal in the season. So right now, everyone's just locked in and doing what's being asked of us and trying to do all the little things and all the little details because the next 2 months of the season is gonna shake up, and I think the table is gonna shake up pretty quickly. And you know how CPL, especially this time of the year, where now's the time where within the last 6 weeks of the season is where you really want to start peaking because you want to be peaking right at the beginning of October, heading right into playoffs. So right now is a very crucial point in pretty much everyone's season, whether you're above the playoff line or you're just below it, because you never know what can happen. The teams like Valor and Halifax, they can make a push. I'm pretty sure Valor has maybe 11 games left. Pretty sure out of those 11, 7 or 8 of them are at home. So they can make a run. Anyone can make a run at this point in time in the season. So it's all about just focusing on yourselves and doing what you need to do each week and taking care of business each game.
That's a very good point. No CPL titles ever been won in August. It's always, won in September, October. Normally the final month, to be honest, it goes down to. It's always been tight. Great mentality to have. I mean, if you guys could keep that, I mean, that's definitely the way to go about it. MVP talk. Where are you at? Would you consider yourself in there? If KJ walks up to me in the hallway and he asked me for my 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams in first place, most goal contributions, you're number one.
Not only most goal contributions, he has the most goals and most primary assists out of anybody, leading both categories. You can't just say goal contribution. He's doing everything.
What's a primary assist,
The ones that count.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to put you on the spot and talk about yourself. You talk about good form, but I'm putting you in there. Is that on your mind? Let me just pose that question to you at all. Has that crossed your mind?
I'd be lying if I said it didn't, but ultimately the main objective is to win the regular season to try and secure that spot for the CONCACAF Champions League.
Respect for saying it, because I know every single player does think it, but I know you well enough that I agree that I know your mindset is team first and think, but some players would say no.
I have a question, Niko,
go.
before you go. We talk about the success of the team, but one thing that's changed drastically, at least from an outsider perspective, is how many fans you guys have been getting out to games this year. It is up from where it has been over the last few years for York. Do the players on the pitch kind of take notice of that? I know not necessarily during the game, but like pre-game, post-game, just kind of the atmosphere that has been brought in by the new ownership and the fans that have been showing up.
Nate, Brian, has there been more fans?
Yeah, there actually has been this year.
Okay, cool. I'm
First
not
home
there,
game
so I
of the
don't know.
season against Forge was actually the record attendance in York history this year. So I think our average fan, like, the numbers have gone up this year. I don't know the exact numbers.
Can you tell when you play?
Years,
can you tell?
Yeah, you can tell. Sometimes when
cool.
mid-game, if wherever the ball is, sometimes, and like as a striker, like I'm walking and the ball's out of bounds and it's in that direction, you look up at the stands and like there's a decent amount of people. Or sometimes after the game in the change room. Say what?
You get boomied?
Nah. No, but I mean, obviously the ownership is doing something behind the scenes. They're doing a tremendous job getting more fans in the seats, which is always nice as a player when you're at home and fans are coming out to support you and watch you, and after the games you go shake their hands and all of that stuff. So it's nice to see them there. Hopefully we can keep having them come out. It would be nice. We have 2 important home games coming up, one this Friday, so it would be nice if we could get a lot of fans for both these upcoming games.
Yeah, everyone loves a winner, so just keep winning
help.
and they'll come, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Niko?
MVP talk. I mean, I was alluding more to what other players, who's your competition for like who's another top player in this league right now? Your opinion.
Um, I'd have to. It's always a lot easier said than done when people are scoring the goals, but I would say some of the other attacking players. Del Campo's having a much. He's having. Him and I had a very similar season to last year. I don't know if he scored in a couple of goals or not last year, but
But he
obviously
came halfway though, no?
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Something like
So I
that in
just
like the
kind of didn't
summer or
count
something
it.
like that. Yeah. But I mean
Your
he's
season
doing
was
really well
worse.
for Ottawa. He's doing really well for them. They're man up top. Diaz is slowly every year. We all know Diaz, top striker in the league. Just
Good striker,
in the
bro. Very good
box,
striker.
finishes. Is a really good finisher. Good
Yeah.
movement.
Borges? Borges up there for
Borges,
me.
he's back. Yeah, he's having a fantastic season. He's contributing in goals and assists as well. He's doing
Mhm.
this thing like everyone knows he's capable of. Yeah, I mean everyone. I would say Kwesi. Kwesi was starting the season at what, left back or left wing, and they had a striker in disguise, and he's taken off this season. So really happy for him. Young guy doing his thing, deserving his minutes, and killing it. I would say pretty good candidates in there. I feel like I might be forgetting some people. I'm trying to think of the.
Forwards don't rate defenders, eh? Like not one goalie shout and not one defender shout there.
Well, I said it's
Kloppy,
a lot easier when like I said that the strikers are the ones scoring goals, so it's a lot easier to always give them their shout and their flowers. But
there. Yeah, but this is why we have this show, Brian. That's why I give you the airwave.
I
You
mean,
got to help
obviously
educate people.
Nimick is has what, 7 goals, I think.
Okay, so let me ask another player's opinion. Is that 7 goals got an asterisk in your mind? Posing the question.
That's funny you say that.
I know it's funny.
I mean, I think a lot of people might agree with that, but someone still has to step up and take them. And
It's a skill.
He's been doing really well with them and
Okay, here
scoring
I'm
them.
I'm
So
gonna pose a second question to both of you. Do you think there should be a second column in the goals category that is PK goals? Track that as opposed to total goals.
No,
I
that's
mean,
lame.
no. It says it. It says it anyways. It says in brackets that PK
Yeah.
goals, but like not everyone can deal with the pressure of taking a PK. So hats off to him if
Tough challenge.
he's clearly their penalty taker and he's been burying them. So what can you really say? So I mean, a defender is taking PKs over attacking players, so that must be, like I said, hats off to him. He's doing a good job with it. So
Yeah. For guys that don't know Brian all that well within the league, I would describe Brian as, definitely a veteran presence. And I know a lot of the young guys, definitely when I was at York, looked up to Brian. I know when he left Ottawa, there were some guys that I knew there, and they mentioned the same thing, like, yo, we miss Brian in the locker room. So Brian, all these young guys are giving you your flowers behind the scenes. I feel like you do. So let me ask you this. Do you actively try to build a relationship with the young guys in the team? Is that something you learned through your playing
yeah,
days?
as I've gotten older, I would say for sure I try to build a relationship with them because this opportunity that they have is a tremendous one. Like growing up, we never had this opportunity of a professional league to play in or have to be in a professional environment. So whenever they have questions or whatever, I'm always ears and willing to give advice on what they can do, what they shouldn't do as a professional. Um, I'm not. Some days I'm nicer, some days I'm harder on them, but I think I have a decent mix now as I've gotten older on how to what days to put my arm around them and then what days to scold them at the same time. So it can't always be flowers with them and hold their hand, but there's some days you have to be hard on them and they have to learn. So, but for
Where'd
sure,
you
like
learn
I
that?
through my days when I was a young guy.
Like who?
I
When
had
you
a
were in
teammate that
when you started at Revs, who
I
in that
would say
locker room
one
was
guy
big
that
there?
was pretty well. I was friends with a couple of the older guys, so I'd hang out with them and I would always ask them questions. But one person that always comes to mind is like a Kellen Rowe or something. Like there's some days you joke around with me a lot, then there's some days it was very hard on me. And like there was Lee Wynn, Juan Agudelo, Kellen Rowe, Scott Caldwell was pretty hard on me sometimes, like Teal Bunbury, Andrew Farrell. So a lot of the older guys at the time, like Kai Kamara, like if I ever had questions, I'd go to them and ask them questions. And if there was days where like I was bad in training, they would let me know. But there was times where they would hard on me, and then there was times where they would quote unquote put their arm around me at the same time, like one on one on the side, and like look, like what you need to do, you need to work harder in this, blah blah blah. So it's a good mix. You need a good healthy mix of both, because sometimes people need that fear of like being like, oh my gosh, like they're serious, like I'm getting yelled at, and they need that sometimes. So I think I do a good job of mixing both. There's some days where you get scolded in front of the team by yourself, and then there's also days you pull them to the side and say, look, like this is what you need to do better, work a little bit harder on this, focus on this, blah 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 kind of thing. So I think it's important that like the veterans on each team should be trying to look out for these young guys, because they're the future of the league. Eventually, one day we're not going to have contracts, we're not going to have a team, we're going to be old or whatever it may be. You got to try and help them so that they can help the next generation after them and the next young guy.
Big facts.
Yep.
Big facts. Last question, and then Nick, unless you, because
Nope.
basically you're going to wrap it on. I know we're taking this long, but Brian, quickly. You know, mostly our audience I watch the show is like the super fans, like the supporters groups of all the clubs. Who's your favorite team to score against away?
Oh.
You're trying
I
to
got a
set me
follow-up
up,
question.
Huh?
I got a
You're
follow-up
trying to
question.
set me up.
Who do you who do you like to score against?
Uh,
You
away.
don't have to away, you know, so you can really stick it to them.
I'm not gonna answer that question.
No, you're not going to answer?
I wouldn't say I have one team where I'm like, oh, like I want to go there and score and prove a point. Like it's never personal with me like that, unless someone tries to make it personal. But for me, it's just every game I try and go and do my job.
I got a follow-up question on that one. Is there any player on another team that you like to score and then joke around with after about scoring on them? Goalie, defender,
beating.
you know, any of that?
A defender? I mean,
Or any player. I just use defender because they're the ones you're going head-to-head against.
If I was playing against Brian, I feel like when we used to go up against each other, that'd be a standard. If Brian scored on me, the first thing,
because you got to know, I know Niko and I go way back.
Yeah.
I would say maybe Nate Ingham as well.
Nate, I was
because
gonna say.
the three of us, we all go back. We all played for Ajax growing up. So obviously, them both being keepers and me being a striker, like not like after the game, I'm like, haha, like, but like,
Yeah.
you know, like we joke around or we talk about what happened on the goal. But
Yeah, that's
I
more
would
what
say
I was
them
trying to get
two
at.
for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Funny story about Brian off of that is, so 2 moments. Brian scores a brace on me.
I have a feeling I know what one of them you're gonna talk about, but go ahead.
Okay, well, yeah, well, it's fair. But I'll start with this one. I'm at home. I play for York, home game. Brian scores a brace on me. As soon as he scored the second goal, which was kind of a breakaway, he just slots it clean to my right. All I'm thinking is like, damn, like I don't want to hear this like in off season. Like that's all I thought about, because that's when I would see Brian is training the off season. I'm like, damn, like I know I'm gonna hear this.
Listen to this all
Like in the
off-season.
rondos a thing. But in the same sense, is this what when I stopped that pen against you, the first thing I thought of was like, I can't wait to bring this up. Like I own him. Like I got him right now. I got this one.
Oh, love it.
Funny. I knew you were gonna bring that up. And it was one of those moments too where, because I was in the Can Champ game and I came off the bench, and I think we almost scored before the 90 minutes, and obviously it went straight to a shootout. And then like obviously, like I said, Niko and I go way back. So as soon as I missed, I was like, that's devastating that I missed. And I'm like, it's even worse that it's Niko. So I'm like, I can't. I'm like, I don't want to see this guy for a while. Like, you know? So yeah.
Oh, I love it. That's the exact kind of answer that I wanted. So thank you for that. Brian, really appreciate taking some time out of your day to join us, man. Hopefully we can do it again soon.
Cheers. Thanks for having me, guys.
By the way, that penalty moment is like written in CPL folklore. That's the only thing I'm known for, basically, with amongst the fans, is that I come off my line on penalties. So you should be honored.
Yeah, supporters groups
Be part
don't
of
like him
that.
for that.
Yeah.
All right, Brian, thank you so much, man.
Peace, buddy.
All right, thanks, guys.
Yep. Brian Wright from York United FC. And Niko, great conversation with Brian. Great conversation with Bryce earlier. But we haven't had a chance to talk since the Olympics kind of happened and the women's national team. We got a chance to kind of talk about the Dronegate scandal quickly. A lot has happened since then. The whole tournament has happened since then. And we kind of need to talk about it because after everything that team went through, after all the Dronegate, after all of the scandal came out, this women's team went on to the quarterfinals. And yes, they did lose in the quarterfinals to a very good Germany side, the number 4 ranked team in the world. So it's not like they lost to someone that they should have beaten. I still thought they played better than that Germany side in the quarterfinals. I think they were hard done by having to go to pens, and in the end, Canada loses on pens again. It's not exactly a shocking revelation, unfortunately, for our national teams. What did you think of their run to the quarterfinals and everything that they kind of had to deal with on the outside, as well as a little bit on the inside? I mean, losing 2 coaches and analyst for you can't be easy going into a tournament.
The players made the most out of a terrible situation. That was basically a win. You get deducted 6 points. You win 3 in a row, go through all that drama, and you proceed. It's like, boom, like, give us a difficult hand. We're going to fight through and we're going to advance. From there, it's almost like you're playing on house money. That's how I viewed it. And good run. I would view this as a positive experience. I'm going to assume that team, whoever's been a part of this, is going to be a hell of a lot tougher coming out of this from a player standpoint only. I'm talking right now.
Yeah, players only.
Talk about a time to go through adversity, stick together, and win 3 games. All that. So that was a great way for them to represent themselves. As for the drone gate and all of that.
Yeah, because last time we talked, it was
go
just
ahead.
announced.
We never
that-
spoke about this. We haven't spoken about that.
I thought we spoke about it our last show because it was like just as it was kind of coming down. Okay,
I
well
don't
we
think so.
haven't we haven't spoken about it then. I apologize. I think you and me maybe just texted a lot, and I assumed
Exactly.
we had
Me and you have spoken about
just-
it, but it wasn't
I
on air.
assumed we had talked about it. To be honest,
Me and you have.
What a mess this whole situation is. Obviously losing your coach, 3 days before the tournament is never easy, and kind of expect more from everyone involved. So I guess the question now becomes, like, do you think the punishments were fair to the national program that they saw from FIFA? And I think if we're talking more specifically, should Bev Priestman ever be able to coach Canada soccer again after all?
So first question is what's fair? The 6-point deduction?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
No, 9-point deduction. Oh no, 6-point
No,
deduction
no.
and then 3 coaches
6 point.
suspended
They got
for a
9
year
points.
and a fine.
Oh wait, say those second 2. I didn't.
So the three people who were sent home, all are
Yeah.
suspended from FIFA for a year. So Priestman,
Mhm.
the assistant coach, and the analyst are all suspended for all FIFA competition for a year. And then the national program was also fined. I don't know what the exact amount was.
Fined
but
an
it's
amount.
hundreds of thousands, I believe, millions.
Chump change.
Well, I mean,
Slap on the wrist.
for an association who's struggling financially, say it's 350,000, which I'm just throwing out an arbitrary number that I don't know that's it. Say that is 350,000 hurts for a country that's struggling financially with our soccer. So you know what I mean? Like, it's not ideal.
No, no, I agree.
So I thought, like, to be honest,
Do you agree with I feel like you might have a stronger opinion than me. Do you agree on the sanctions and
yeah, I do. I don't think that FIFA got it wrong. I think FIFA is also trying to put their foot down and say, you guys are idiots. And we know other people do
you got
it,
caught?
but you got caught. So we're going to make an example out of you to try to deter other clubs, countries, whatever, from doing the exact same thing. By the way, I've said this to so many people. I think I've said it on other shows. I've said it in person to other people. How dumb do you have to be to get caught using a drone in a country that it is illegal to use drone? Like, we're not.
Is it always or during that time? Just
No.
because Olympics?
Paris and France in general, it's pretty much illegal all throughout France. It's definitely illegal in Paris because they've had issues with drones and flights in their airspace. So they banned it for a long period of time. You're asking for trouble if you're flying a drone in a country / a city that you're not legally allowed to fly a drone on. That's the only reason we got caught. The only reason, because the cop saw the drone and detained the analyst, who we know his name. It's Joseph Lombardi, he's Ontario guy here. He got detained and he got charged, and he now comes home with a conviction because he now has to serve a 8-month suspended sentence.
I don't know if all that's true.
It is.
Mhm.
Been public knowledge. He is convicted and he has an 8-month sentence. So he's going to, it's basically like parole. He's serving it at home, but he was charged and he was convicted. Flying unmanned aircraft in a illegal airspace. So, like,
Yeah,
that's
tough.
the reason we got caught, because the police got involved and then FIFA got involved. You got to be smarter than that, people. Like, I think it's ridiculous.
You got to cheat better.
Like,
You got to be sneakier. You know, just like in soccer when you're playing, that guy runs by, you got to tug the jersey, but you can't let the ref see. Just tug him so he doesn't see. You know, you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. I'm trying to make light of it because it's such a, it's been such a demerit on Canada soccer recently. But
and like, if you ask,
it's important to know that it is going. Spying to some degree is happening all over world football.
Absolutely. I don't think that's a hidden thing if you are a footy fan, a footy player. Like, that's something that is well known. It's not like we didn't expect it. It's just the fact that we got caught doing it makes us look bad.
But to casuals, it's like, oh my God, like they're the biggest cheaters of all time. Like, I can't believe you do that to sport. Like, it's not fair. It's like, no, like soccer, it's the world sport. Everyone's trying to get an edge. We all play it. We're trying to be the top. And I'm not writing it. I'm just saying, like, this ain't like the most ludicrous thing that's ever happened.
But it's true. And like,
in the game,
if you read because I actually try to keep up on news. If you kind of follow news in Canada, it was the biggest thing in the world. Everyone made such a big deal about it. And like, yes, we got caught cheating on the international stage. Is it a big deal? Yes. But is it as big of a deal as people made it out to be? Probably not. And if you start reading articles from like England and like other places that cover the game and were covering the Olympics, they're like, yeah, they got caught. It's
respect.
It is what it is. Like, move on. We're getting ready for the tournament. They didn't make a big deal about it. And yeah, because it happened to us, maybe we make a bigger deal about it. That makes sense. But the question, I think, does arise: is Canada now looking for a new coach? I think I think they have to be. I don't think Bev can coach for this, based on how everything fell apart and what she said prior to it coming out that she knew, because she tried to deny that she knew anything about it. Which, by the way, I think is ridiculous, and I think that they kind of sewered Joey Lombardi, and this guy's coming back with a conviction because no one would go to bat for him. He became the scapegoat, and I didn't really like that. Not that I don't think he is. He doesn't.
Don't you think the truth will eventually come out? And
it should, but he's still going to be the only one who's convicted, because he was the only one who flew the drone in France. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? But yeah, so Bev Priestman comes out initially when the police detain Lombardi and says, I knew nothing about this. I have no idea why this is happening. And then like 5 days later, after he's already been sent home and the assistant coach has already been sent home, who he reports to, it comes out that, oh no, she knew. Not only did she know, she's been forcing analysts and contractors to do this for her. And she had emails to the HR person of Soccer Canada asking how she could try to pressure someone into doing this. Why would you write it down? Why put it in an email? You're
Voice
asking for
note.
problems. You are asking for problems at that.
Yeah. It's hard to say because I'm sure there's still an investigation going on, and right, this isn't public. This is all
That was-
hearsay, no?
That was public. That came out in reporting. The emails that were sent to the HR person, that came out in reporting. So
They
yes,
got the emails, like they have the emails,
have
they've
the
seen the
emails.
emails, or they
I've
heard
read
about it.
I've read the email, and they're
Could be
signed.
AI.
It
Could be AI.
It could be AI, but the fact that it was multiple sources reporting it, gonna probably go with no. And it now has shown that it could go back even further, and we'll get into that in a second. But in my opinion, Bev can't coach for this national program again. Are we in agreement?
Well, no. I have no opinion on that. That's Kevin Blue. Tough start to the job,
I know.
Kevin Blue.
Trial by fire by fire.
Well, let's see if you got it. I mean, that's a question that he's going to have to answer, and he's going to have to use a panel of people that he trusts to come to that decision. She's been suspended. That's what's been given. I'm more so, I'm just more thinking like investigation's still going. They're going to get the complete full story. And that's when you make your judgment. But, yeah, Kevin, good luck, pal. But, yeah, sorry. I mean, I tried to kind of make a joke of it, but that's kind of how I view it. It's a very serious topic. I know the people that are in charge of making the decision are taking it very
Of
seriously.
course they should.
But when you start talking about convictions, start talking about loss of job, then talk about finances, supporting family and all that, it's such an actual serious matter that I think it's very important to let the process go about. But yeah.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, no,
really
but it is such a big story. I mean, whatever happened to what are your thoughts when it comes to this case? To any publicity is good publicity. You said it was global news. Talking about Canada soccer,
yeah.
global news.
If you had asked me that before the tournament had started, when all of it came out and we were docked the 9 points, I probably would have said all publicity isn't good publicity. But because the women's team went on to win, or 6 points, I keep saying 9 points, 6 points. Because the women's team went on to win all of their group stage games, and in my opinion, outplayed Germany in their quarterfinal game. Despite all of this, that looks good on the players, at the very least. It looks good on the players for the women's side. The men's team just making that Copa run. On the field, Canada soccer is making waves in international. And I think that is a positive thing. I'm not saying that they're winning tournaments yet, because we're not. But that, for me, is a positive thing. So, is all publicity good publicity? I think it depends on what happens around it, if that makes sense. Because if everything is negative, all publicity is not necessarily good publicity. Had they gone on and lost all 3 games after being the Olympic champions the last tournament and just playing awful at the World Cup,
Just would have
2
been
years
just
ago,
a terrible look
it would have looked really, really bad
on the world
women's
stage.
program, on the world stage.
Canada soccer in general just takes the full hit, I think.
Yeah.
CPL takes a hit. It's the brand of Canada soccer right now that whether it's the men's team, the women's team, any kind of entity that's out there representing the brand, they're representing Canada soccer. And that's what we're trying to do right now in the global game is we're trying to show that, we take soccer's the real deal here. We got great players, we got great talent, we got passionate fans, we got people that care, and it's something there. So whenever there's any team going out there, like that's kind of the message that's going out. And in this case, it's like it was a bad look for Canada soccer. I think everyone would agree on that general statement. It was a bad look for Canada soccer.
I agree. It was a bad look, and the women went out and spun a good look in front of it, try to mitigate how bad of a look it is.
Yeah.
And I
You see
give
that's
them
been
full
the
credit.
general, you see that's been the general
100%.
narrative around it is like, you know what, good for the players. Like
100%.
those girls did it. Like
And
good for them that, you know, they represented us players, us Canadian players at least. Well, it's like, hell yeah, tough, resilient, fought, came down in that game against France. Was it France? And they
Germany.
no. I know they lost to Germany, but
Oh.
the game previously to that, I believe before they
France.
played
Yeah.
Colombia, it was France. And in extra time, they score that goal, the winning goal. So it's
Vanessa
like, you know
Gilles.
what? Gio, that's it.
I got you.
Yeah. Great
Honestly,
look for the players.
honestly, they really, for the most part, I thought almost all of them balled out at that turn. And Gilles, I saw people talking about this, not necessarily just Canadian markets. It was mostly Canadian media markets that were saying it. But I saw reporters from other markets making this comment that had she led them to the semifinals or the finals, Gilles, she could have possibly played her way into Player of the Year conversations for how good she played at the club level prior to that, and
Like
then what
Ballon
she
d'Or?
did at Ballon d'Or conversations. Not win it, but at least be on the short list, which would be huge, right? Like, let's seriously think about the last time a Canadian women's side player was even in the conversation for the Ballon d'Or.
Sinclair every year.
But was she? Mostly because I
Surely.
think I thought, like, I would agree that she should have been, but I don't know if she ever actually was. Like, because she's playing here in the NWSL and because for some reason people never really, I don't think people gave her as much credit as she probably deserved for everything that she did for both the national and club side.
Why why
people have underrated Sinclair her entire career.
have they? Oh, Sinclair, women Canada soccer players.
Both, but Sinclair too.
Really? I thought it was a well-known fact that Canada creates have the best women's soccer player in the world. That's just like generally
They had the best.
known.
They've always said that they've had the best women's goal scorer because a lot of people said Marta was the best
Goal
women's
scorer,
soccer
but we
player
just
at the same
consistently
time.
produced.
I agree. I
Great.
agree with you. But
You're
if we
saying
go
the global football doesn't think that?
I don't know if global football fans don't think that, but I think like the people who were voting on Ballon d'Or never really gave the Canadians as much credit as I think we would agree that they deserve.
Do you watch a Rogan podcast?
I don't. I've
At this point, he has like a prep guy behind the scenes. I guess his name's Jamie. And whenever they're having conversations like this, he's like, Jamie, search up, has Christine St. Clair been in the short list for thing right now? He just whips it up and stuff because I wanna bet you that Christine St. Clair, we figure out what her prime years were for that like 5 to 8 year time. She was every single year in the short list of women's Ballon d'Or, but I could be way off. But I'm willing to
be fair,
they've
only been giving out the women's Ballon d'Or since 2018.
Oh man, that doesn't help.
That doesn't help. You know what I mean?
Okay, 2018. Christine, she was a bit older then, so it'd be tough for her to be like
Canadian
hitting.
has never finished in the top 3.
2018, they took her best years away from Sink.
Yep.
That they call her Sink?
Yes, they do.
Sink, yeah. They honestly, okay, that's unfair. If it was just like the men's, I think there would be a decade where Christine St. Clair is just like the Messi Ronaldo.
And I agree with you. And I just do think that they've undervalued Sinclair for so long that it's hard to. It would have been hard to see a Canadian in that running, and the fact that Vanessa Gilles has garnered attention even after the Olympics, if she can do anything to start the European women's season really positive, there's a chance she could get on the list. I'm not saying win it, but she's there at least. She's in conversation. That's an astounding thing because I think, Niko, if you and me had talked about this a month ago on our last show, was that something that either of us could have predicted?
That she would have been on the short list of the Ballon d'Or for women.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't have predicted
I
that.
wouldn't, right? And she played so well. And there's other players who played really well too. I mean, we can get into the fact that Jessie Fleming, who got hurt in the quarterfinal game, and I think that actually hurt the team come penalty kicks, she was really good throughout the tournament. I thought she was great. Jade Rose really stepped up, 21-year-old wingback, and she's now starting for the national program and moving over to Man United. All of that, fantastic, right? Simia Wujo also had a great tournament. Is there anyone who really kind of stood out for you, Niko, that maybe I haven't mentioned or that I have mentioned and you want to add more on?
Sheridan's sick. I like the way she plays. She's cool.
Energy.
She's good. I like her. She's got it. She's
Yeah.
good. That save against France.
Oh, unbelievable.
We talk about how big of a moment that the women's national team did this in the Olympics. She doesn't make that save. This whole emphatic statement that they made in the group stages there, it doesn't happen. I mean,
No.
She's sick. I like her. She's good.
She's great. Anyone else?
No. You said the whole team.
Yeah. I said 4 players.
Minus the keeper.
I said 4
So
players. Anyone disappoint you in how they played?
No. And like honestly, if I know it's just get on with business. What a difficult time. So, but no, the team did well. It's a team sport. Individuals, you're part of that team. Even the they have like alternatives for the Olympics, like they weren't dressing, but the girls that were there, they play a role as well. So that team, well done. Congratulations.
Agreed, my friend. I guess we'll move on to Twitter Watch now. Let's get to it. We haven't done this in like a month. So a few things that kind of came out of Twitter Watch this week, and I want to start with the video from one Mr. Jonathan David, who decided he was going to just boss it in the Conference League.
David face à Dominique.
Look at this. This guy goes and scores against Fenerbahce, knocking out Jose Mourinho and his Fenerbahce side. What a big moment there. That was tweeted out by one Alex Gagne-Rusick. Just
Dan Nimick-esque.
Dan Nimick-esque, right? He looked great in that moment. David's going to be a great year. I think he's ready to go. And
so he's staying there again? He's not moving?
He has not moved yet. But if he does stay, I think he's a great player. I think he's ready to. He's ready to go.
Guys rubbed them.
News coming out today. How about Halifax Tide? They're kind of teasing some stuff too. So they put out this video. Big news on the horizon, August 20th. Niko, I think this might be a player signing. I do. What do you think of the video here from the Halifax Tide?
I think they filmed it at the Hershey Center in Mississauga. So maybe an Ontario, West End, Mississauga, Brampton player.
Maybe League One stars from this season.
Maybe. So do you think that player that we saw on that clip, that was her or no?
I doubt it because they showed kind of too much. I would say no. You know what I mean? But we don't even know if it is a player signing necessarily. It's just
True.
It is a player signing. So
we'll see. That's my thought.
That's your thought?
Yeah. Interesting. I mean, the NSL. I'm talking to one of my best friends. Partners is a women's soccer player. She's in the mixed professional. She's Canadian. It's something that she's in the mix. Very much the situation that I was in 2018. She's waiting to see how the NSL unfolds. She's playing abroad right now, looking to come home, play in her home league. News like this is really big for Canada soccer fans, but Canadian players. The girls that are maybe abroad trying to really establish themselves in the women's professional game. These kind of tweets as a player, man, boom, you're on it. You're watching.
Oh yeah.
Just like, where's that? Okay, you're trying to make sense of it all because they're still in the dark. The players, like no one really knows. Just like the fans are in the dark, the players are in the dark of trying to see what's going on with this league. So I feel like
man.
I always end. Yeah, I just say, "Oh, exciting stuff."
It is
But
exciting.
that's how it is. I know what it feels like from a player standpoint, fan standpoint, and all that. Like,
and we're still waiting on a few team names. But what I'm hearing from sources in the industry, it looks like in the next 6 to 8 weeks, potentially we're going to see more signings. I know this one is August 20th, so that's less than a week away. We'll see what this announcement is. If it is a player signing, I feel like it could come like a wave of them across the league, right? Once the floodgate opens, we could see a bunch of signings coming across, especially since the League One season is done. All of the League One seasons are done across Canada for the women's side. The men's side is still playing, but the women's side is done. I feel like that could open the floodgates for some of these players to sign for next year, which would be
yeah, well, if you remember how the CPL did it, every club announced their foundation signings, and it was 2 players for each club. And then from there, teams kind of went on their own pace on how they were going to announce the things. But essentially, floodgates opening, that's what happened. So I'm sure NSL has a strategy on how they're going to slowly announce player signings.
And finally, before we get to our games of the week, which are going to be very entertaining this week, I just want to give a quick shout out to the under 15 women's team for Canada. Made it all the way to the semifinals, ended up losing to the eventual winners, US, but came away with a bronze medal in the CONCACAF competition that just took place. This team, in my opinion, if you watch that semifinal game, it went to kicks. Yes, Canada lost in kicks again. The conversation that will continue to go until we can start winning kicks. It's almost like England. Remember England when they lost like 5 penalty shootouts in a row, and it feels like it's the same. Feels like it's the same sort of mentality. But good job on those young women. They played fantastic. If you watch that semifinal match, I actually think they had a chance to win that match against the U.S. The U.S. is a very good team at the U15 level, especially in the CONCACAF region. So the fact that they pushed them all the way to kicks, 1-1 in regulation, lost 2-1 kicks, and then they went out and won 2-1 in the bronze medal match against Costa Rica. Fantastic showing. That's what we want. National. Yeah.
Sucks. Yeah. No. Good job.
Thank you. I tried really hard. Let's get to our games of the week, Niko. I'm going to start. I'm going to throw it to you after. Okay. So my game of the week, I'm going Forge at Vancouver. This is a huge game for the standings, in my opinion. This could potentially put all of the top 5 teams within 4 points. If Vancouver, your side, can win, Niko, you get that much closer to Forge and Cavs and make that gap between you and York 4 points, depending on how York does, obviously, when we'll get to that. This could be a massive turning point for the stretch run. I know it's early and there's still lots to be played, but to put that gap so small right away is something that I know the Eagles and their fans are looking for. So that's why this is my game of the week, especially at home, especially for the fact that Forge is playing right now. They're on a short week. It's a big opportunity for Vancouver to pull out a victory and keep that gap small.
Yeah, big game. Definitely a big game. That's the feeling around the club. That's how we thought about our last game. Because we've kind of slipped up the last couple weeks where it's business time. So just like Brian was saying, focusing on the game. So a big game. Good pick, Nick. Good pick.
All right, you're up, man. Well, who do you got?
Pop it on the bottom so I can see who I told you. Cavs versus York. Yeah, exactly. Okay. So Cavs now picking up steam. Again, their form, everyone's complaining of, they're struggling, only ties. Boom, they're in the mix. Now, I don't know what place they're in, but they're touching distance of first. They're 4th, right?
Yep. They are 4 points back of first right now.
No better way to catch the leaders when you play them by beating them, especially at home. Boom, punch them in the mouth. This is Mike Tyson versus, whoever. Heavyweight matchup at this point of the season. So 6-pointer, as we like to call it, should be a great game. York, great touch. I'll give them a little shout out here. I saw that they changed all their last 5 or 4 home games to 8 p.m. So it's a bit of a later kickoff and it allows people to get more fans in stands. You heard Brian say in the show, it does make a difference. So again, the stage is set for a mouth-watering clash.
Stage is set, and yeah, I agree. A victory here by Cavs puts them 1 point back of York in the standings, right? If Cavs beat,
That's what the math is doing. Yeah,
that's what the math is mathing right now. If they win and Vancouver wins and Atletico draws or loses, everyone in the top 5 is separated by 5 points. It's a big deal.
I mean, a lot of ifs there, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
to really drive home the point of how close it is, no matter. And I like how Brian said Valor. He made a point of like how their season's going to be ending up, last place team. And they got a lot of home games coming up. Everyone knows going to Winnipeg ain't the most exciting trip. It's hard to really get up for it. So they do have an advantage playing at home.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everyone's in it. So if you're a fan supporting your team, don't give up. We're turning into prime time for me. September 1, that's prime time.
Yeah.
So you just want your teams to start picking it up.
Agreed with you that September really is where primetime really kicks off. But at the same time, you got to get there. You got to set yourself up for a chance to make a push, right? And this is when you do it. It's the dog days of summer. You got to slog through it. You got to fight through it. It is the dog days, and that's when the best teams will prove that they deserved a chance in the end. And I think that's what we're seeing now. We're seeing York go on this big run where they've played fantastic under the new coach. Valor over the last 5 games, I think they've won 3 out of their last 5 and have a draw as well. Like they're playing better, actually. I don't know if they've won 3, but they've been playing better. Like the results are starting to show up, right? Cavs, as you mentioned.
Better performances. I like how you say that. It's better performances. You're just seeing at the beginning of the year with the teams that were struggling, it's like, oh man, I can't see them putting together wins just because they haven't shown it. Now all the teams have shown when they're on, they're dangerous. It's now about trying to figure it out. And again, like Brian said, peaking come the end of the season. So we're seeing that.
And if any fan bases are a little concerned that their team may not be playing well, as we mentioned, Ottawa, Forge has been dropping points that they usually don't. They're not playing poorly, but they've been dropping points that they usually don't. Pacific hasn't had the best run of recently. It's the dog days, right? They got to get through this. Once it hits primetime, that's when you start to be a little bit more concerned, right? So there's still lots to play for in the CPL, but there is not lots left on this show as we are going to wrap it up here. Niko, it's always a blast to talk to you, man. It's been too long. I'm glad we were able to do this. Get our 2 great guests on, Bryce Crossman and Brian Wright, to join us today. It's been a fantastically packed show. We got a lot more coming for you in the next few weeks. Thank you, everybody. Niko, thank you, my man.
Take care.
Take care, everybody. Make sure you check us out on social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. All of that is available. And don't forget to subscribe on YouTube. It's right down there somewhere. Hit the subscribe button right now, and we'll make sure that we keep putting out content. So until next time, my name is Nick McVicker. That is Niko. No, that's Niko Giantsopoulos. And we'll see you next time.